Remember when the most terrifying man in the Marvel Universe was not a god, a robot, or a purple space nutsack chin roided out raisin? It was a bald dude in a white suit who looked like he could fold a refrigerator in half. That man was Wilson Fisk, and when he first appeared in Daredevil, he was not only a villain, he was a force of nature. A Shakespearean mob boss with the emotional fragility of a child and the violence of a runaway bulldozer. Then the Marvel Cinematic Universe got involved. And suddenly, the most dangerous crime lord in New York turned into a guy who gets blowed up by Lady Hawkeye, shot in the face by a horse-faced native, and forced into couples therapy by his bitch-ass wife. Welcome to No Respect, a show where legacy characters come to die slow, dignity-stripped deaths so powdered Hollywood can feel morally superior. And today's corpse? The Kingpin, aka Wilson Fisk. Back in 2015, Daredevil introduced audiences to the definitive version of Kingpin, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. His Fisk was terrified. Not because he yelled, because he didn't. He spoke softly, he dressed perfectly, he collected art. And then he decapitated a man with a car door. That moment alone told you everything. This is a villain who could explode into violence at any second. Throughout the show, his arc was tragic and monstrous at the same time. He wanted to rebuild New York. He loved Vanessa with genuine devotion. But his solution to every problem was murder. Slow murder. Painful murder. And by the end of Netflix's run, Fisk had become something rare. A comic book villain who felt real. Then there was Matt Murdock, the devil of Hell's Kitchen. Matt and Fisk were mirror images. Both believed the city was sick, both believed they were the cure. The difference? Matt used fists. Fisk used the entire criminal ecosystem. When these two collided, it felt biblical. God versus evil. Devil versus king. When Daredevil finally defeated him, it felt earned. The monster was chained, the city could breathe again, a perfect ending. Which meant the MCU immediately had to break it. Years later, Fisk returned in Hawkeye. Fans were excited, Kingpin was back. Problem? This time he was in a Christmas comedy about trick arrows. Instead of being the mastermind of New York's criminal underworld, Fisk was suddenly running a tracksuit mafia that behaved like rejected villains from a sitcom. And then came a moment that changed everything. He fought Kate Bishop, played by Haley Steinfeld. Now Kate Bishop is great and all, but in the Netflix show it took Daredevil and a martyred FBI agent to bring Fisk down. In Hawkeye, he gets blowed up by trick arrows and beaten by a 22-year-old archer who just learned combat 3 episodes ago. This is the equivalent of Darth Vader getting defeated by a Girl Scout with a slingshot. The Kingpin of crime had become a bitch-ass hoe. This is the story of a crime boss and the adopted daughter who finally checked the family receipts. Her superhero name is Echo. She has a horse face. Engine girls can jump. She realizes her loving mentor orchestrated the death of her bio dad and molded her grief into loyalty. So she does what every dysfunctional television family eventually does. She choctaws him with her wagon burner woo-woo weirding ways. Now he is a pussy. She has a fetish for prosthetic limbs.
Okay, how much for the arm?
Then Echo showed up in one killer drop on Disney Plus like a flaming bag of dog poo in the middle of the night. And for a moment, hope returned. Fist looked brutal again. Manipulative again. Dangerous again. Maybe the monster was coming back. Then Maya Lopez walks up to him, raises a gun, and shoots him directly in his face. Cut to black. Yeah, comic readers know Fisk survives this, but narratively it does something damaging. When a villain survives too many impossible situations, they stop feeling dangerous. They start feeling cartoonish. Kingpin was once terrifying because he felt human. Now he's basically a bald Terminator with a nice suit. When we arrive at Daredevil Born Again, Kingpin isn't ruling the underworld anymore. He's running for mayor. Let that sink in. The man who used to crush skulls in back alleys is now giving speeches about urban development. This is like discovering that Hannibal Lecter opened a food truck. Instead of Shadow Emperor, Fisk becomes a public figure. Press conferences, campaign speeches, policy talk. The monster's still there, but now he's wearing a name tag. Another huge shift is his relationship with Vanessa. In the Netflix show, she was his emotional anchor, the one person he would burn the world to protect. But in Born Again, their dynamic changes. Fisk appears dependent on her, strategically, emotionally, politically. Instead of terrifying king protecting his queen, the show sometimes frames him as a man trying to keep his marriage together while running for office. Which leads to something the original series never did. It makes Kingpin look controlled instead of controlling. And when your villain stops dominating the room, the myth starts shrinking. Even physically, the character changed. In Born Again, Matt Murdock literally says it. You've lost weight. That line isn't just dialogue. It's symbolism. Because the Kingpin used to fill every room like a thunderstorm. Now he feels like a man reassembling his power piece by piece. The show tries to frame this as a slow return. The suit's getting tighter, the violence creeping back, the monster rebuilding itself. But audiences remember the original, and once you've seen Kingpin at full power, watching him rebuild is like watching a lion learn to roar again. This is the story of the most competent man in Daredevil making one incredibly stupid decision. James Wesley, the calm, calculating right hand of Wilson Fisk, runs a criminal empire like a corporate project manager. Then he kidnaps the wrong person. He tries to break Karen Page with threats, intimidation, and the promise that Fisk will destroy everyone she loves. Instead, she grabs his gun. 7 bullets later, the Kingpin's most loyal lieutenant learns an important lesson. Never monologue to someone sitting next to your loaded pistol. He has a fetish for pinball.
I got next.
Behind the scenes, Born Again went through heavy reshoots, and you can feel it. The tone shifts, the pacing changes. Some episodes feel gritty like the Netflix show, and others feel like a standard Marvel series. The inconsistency leads to the biggest perception problem. Fisk no longer feels like the unstoppable center of the story. He feels like a character being rewritten in real time, and that erodes the aura.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Don't you know you're gonna cuck the Kingpin? Introed on a phone?
I don't need a minute.
Taking guff from this hoe.
You're really starting to annoy me.
Hoisted by your own cufflink and outsmarted by a 25-year-old teenager. Shot in the face.
Free yourself. Go ahead.
Self-deleting tendencies.
Free me!
You got chalk talk, fool.
When you were gone, I made this business bulletproof.
I know about Adam, Vanessa.
I took over the business. It thrived. It had never been more profitable. Why are we here?
I'm here because I don't want to lose my wife.
Ain't dropping no lines, I'll just call you a bitch. Bitch!
Y'all should be worried about Born Again Season 2. Look at the arc. Netflix era, crime emperor. Hawkeye, beaten by a girl. Echo, shot in the face. Born Again, running for office. That trajectory does not scream rising menace. It screams franchise confusion. That every time Fisk appears in a different MCU project, he has to adapt to that show's tone. Comedy, street drama, political thriller, and each adjustment chips away at the myth. The danger isn't that Kingpin becomes weak, the danger is that he becomes normal. The original Kingpin was terrifying because he felt like corruption itself, a man who could break bones, buy politicians, and destroy lives with equal efficiency. A man who didn't need superpowers because he was the system. But every time the MCU softens him, retools him, or repositions him, something precious erodes. Because Wilson Fisk should not feel like a character you can beat. He should feel like a problem you can only survive. And if Daredevil Born Again Season 2 forgets that, then the Kingpin won't lose his empire, he'll lose something far worse. The one thing a villain like him cannot live without is fear. And right now, the most dangerous man in New York is still trying to earn back the one thing he used to command effortlessly. It's a goddamn shame.
I love New York.
Hey man, if you down, like and subscribe. Catch you on the flip side, flapjacks.